Hi guys, I wanted to share a dream that I had last night. I've been getting prophetic visions, um, also and a lot of dreams lately. I've been getting visions since I was a kid, and I mean a lot of times very accurate things that come true. Even things I'd find out a week later. Uh, there's a lot of crazy things I've seen when it comes to God, but this dream I had last night. So I'll just go ahead and kind of describe it. In the dream, I saw, it was blackout, and there was a bunch of people around me, and a guy, he was a fellow believer in Jesus, Yeshua. He pointed to the sky and told me, Nathan, you gotta look. And I saw what it looked like. It looked like God had taken his finger and literally kind of like painted some words in the black sky. I saw the following words. It said, Kraken has fallen. Now, after this happened, immediately, stars started basically showering all over the earth. They started zooming down like crashing stars, just showering down. And I remember the fear, I was experiencing extreme fear as it happened. But one of the things that happened was that anybody that was a follower of Jesus, Yeshua, when the stars crashed upon us all, they didn't hurt us. They kind of like phased through us. And anybody who wasn't a believer was destroyed. And right after this happened, Jesus returned and he handed me something, and a few others as well. It looked like a vial, and it had a purple, it looked like a purplish color liquid. And it, kind of grainy, like if it kind of like if it had seeds in it or something. And he told me and others to go around and give this to anybody who was still alive, who was sick or in pain or whatnot. And right after this happened, I ended up at my mom's house. I gave it to a couple people and they instantly got better. And I ended up at my mom's house, and I went in and she was laying down asleep. And as a kid, she'd get migraines and stuff. And so in the dream, she was very sick and had a migraine. And I told her what had happened. And I said, Mom, you got to get up. You got to come out and see the writing. You got to see the stars. And she was like, I'm really sick. I can't get up. And she had no clue any of it happened. Like Jesus' return had happened. And so I took the liquid and, kind of poured it in her mouth, and boom, instantly she was better. She was up and better. And one of the things I wanted to say is when this all happened, there was a mix of emotions that I felt. And, what had happened at first, when I saw the writing in the sky and the stars started falling, the first thing I felt was fear, extremely scared, and fearful as it was coming down. And the next thing I felt is like it transitioned to kind of a sadness and grief. Like, I started thinking about, all the mistakes I've made in my life, obviously not perfect. And, started, Christ had just returned. And that was after fear, that was the next thing, was just fearful and sad. And gosh, I wish I had done certain things different. And, I was fearful that I wasn't going to make it. even though the stars had, not destroyed me, I had that fear. And I just remember as this all happened and Jesus gave me the liquid, the fear, everything subsided. And the one thing that mattered most was, at the end of the day, with all the mistakes made, everything, did I love Jesus? Did I love Yeshua? And I remember after feeling all the fear and all the memories that, all the regrets, all of a sudden that came to mind. And I remember thinking, the one thing that's never stopped and never will, I've always loved God. I've always loved Jesus, Yeshua. And all of a sudden I felt nothing but his love and peace. And it was like it melted away all fear. It melted away all anxiety and all those memories and everything were, past failures were gone. It was kind of like almost going through, I imagine, what judgment could be like, for believers, when we're forgiven and restored. And I remember that when the dream was coming to an end, he then basically had us, was going about and was restoring the earth. Now, I read the Bible a lot. I read Revelations and all kinds of, different books. And I'm not getting into, hey, is this the correct order of events and, any of that stuff. I'm just telling you just what the dream was. But yeah, the words in the sky were, Kraken has fallen. And I looked up Kraken, and it's a sea-dwelling monster from folklore. And what does the Bible talk about when it comes to Satan? It says he's a dragon, a serpent, and that he will come from the sea. He will come up out of the sea. And so it's just kind of odd that it said, Kraken has fallen. But it was Jesus's return, and when he returned, all of us Christians were still here. He didn't come and take us from the wrath and all the stuff. However, he kept us safe through it, and so it was a really incredible dream. And I just want to say to those out there, I didn't seem much older than I am now. I mean, it seemed like it could be any day. With all the crazy events happening in this world, I wouldn't be surprised. No one knows the time except for God. But for anybody who's just sitting back and, who maybe you don't feel like you're where you should be, I would just recommend, asking Jesus into your heart. If you already know him, just spend more time with him. I know I'm guilty of that. We need to spend more time with him, whether it's reading his word, worship, or just sitting there in the quiet and saying, God, what do you want from me? Let me hear your voice, Lord. But I just wanted to share that dream with you guys. It was very real. And there was one thing that I remembered a few hours later after I woke up. He said something very specific to me. I heard God's voice tell me something. And what he said was, do not get any further vaccinations. Do not get any further vaccinations. And, first off, I haven't taken the COVID shot. Just putting that out there. I have a medical exemption too, of course, but beyond that, not, I know that's not from God. Beyond that, though, He said, do not take any further vaccinations. And when he was saying this, the understanding I got was anything, not just COVID really, anything, whether it's flu shots, anything. There was going to be, people argue about in the past of, what's in the different vaccinations, whatnot. But the understanding I got was do not take anything further. I haven't taken anything in years, but for those out there, even if it's been COVID shot, do not, I beg of you. The way he was showing me was that any type of vaccination, anything moving forward, they're going to be tainted. Don't know what's in it, just know what he said. He said, do not take any further vaccinations. So please keep that in mind. And I pray that God would bless all who spent the time to listen to this. I know it's kind of long. I apologize for that. But God bless you all.